Hello, G's. A little while back, I was talking to you about how I would go to the botanical gardens and buy the big, juicy, sweet peaches from the guy on, I think it was Thursdays or Wednesdays or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, can't get to the botanical gardens this year. Yeah, and I doubt if they open before the season is over. So I picked up some peaches from the supermarket. I had them on top of my refrigerator and they're starting to not look good. So I'm going to cook them up and make two special things. I'm not even going to try to get the skin off. I'm just gonna boil them with the skin, or not boil them, but simmer them down with the skin on to make a tasty treat. Two tasty treats, actually. One of them, I'll tell you, is my father's favorite ice cream. As I told you his ice cream story. Ooh, look at that. The juice is just dripping. Yeah, I know these are sweet and juicy. And the other thing I'm going to leave as a surprise. And that's something that I've never made before. But you know what we do here. We experiment and we do things my way. That one has a little bad spot on it, so we'll take that off. Yeah, these peaches are going to be good. These big chunks, I'm going to cut them up a little more. Yeah, I can't wait to taste that peach ice cream. And get these over to the kitchen. Add a little sugar, a little cinnamon, and maybe even some ginger. That sounds good. Yummy. Let's just eat the rest of that. Okay. Come with me to the kitchen so we can finish this up. Alright, G's. So, we have a little sugar. Because I want to get a syrup going. Especially for the ice cream. Yeah. Then we'll get our cinnamon in there. It's about a teaspoon. And then for the ginger, it's about a half a teaspoon. We'll add a little water to that. Not too much. That's about a quarter cup. And we'll add a low flame to that. And let it cook down. And make a nice syrup. And some nice sweet peaches. You can see the peaches begin to simmer, and I'll bring you back once it really cooks down. Okay, the peaches have been cooking down for a while, and I'm going to see if the syrup is thick enough to stop the cooking now, or if I need to cook it a little longer. It's thick. It could be a little thicker though, so we're going to let these cook a little longer, but they're soft enough. Let a little bit of that water evaporate out of that syrup. Okay, I'll be right back. I think the syrup is thick enough now, just from the way it sounds when it's boiling. Yeah. We're going to let this cool off, and it'll be ready to make one of those delicious desserts. Okay, G, so you know the deal. It's ice cream time again, and inside here I have a cup and a half of non-dairy creamer, and this time I only put a half a cup of confectioner sugar, and I'm putting in a cup of water. Now, the reason that I only put a half a cup of sugar is because I'm going to use some of the syrup from the peaches that I cooked. That's more like a half cup. Okay. Now we're going to blend this up and put it in the freezer for the first freeze over. Tastes peachy already. Okay. So I'm going to head off to the freezer with this, and I'll see you guys back for the second blend. Okay. Now the first frost over happened. So we're going to then we're going to put some of our peaches in, about half of the ones that we cooked. There. Mix this in. And set it in the fridge for the second freeze. Okay, geez, let's get started with my first attempt at making ice cream cones. First off, we're going to get a low flame going here. We're going to start off by melting some butter, and I'm going to melt about 2 tablespoons, which is right about there. Okay. And I'm going to keep this on the side because I might need it later. Now we don't want the butter to brown. We just want it to be nice melted butter. Okay, we're going to pour the melted butter into this dish and set it aside. Next, we're going to crack an egg, but we're only going to be using the egg white. Now these measurements aren't exact because the recipe that I saw called for about twice as much, but it's just me here, and I'm not going to be eating a lot of ice cream, so I don't want to be wasteful, but I have no use for this yolk, so I'm going to throw it away. I'm going to add about this is a 1/4 cup, so I'm going to add about 1/8 of a cup of flour, and that's gluten-free flour, of course. And I don't know if you remember the story about me making a cake with my Easy Bake Oven, and we dumped too much sugar in and the cake came out hard. Well, we want ice cream cones to be hard, so I added an equal amount, which is 1/8 of a cup of sugar. And we're going to mix this all together. And to that, I'm going to add my butter. And this is looking kind of like the batter that the lady made. So I'm going to go with that and say that this is okay. Hers might have been a little runnier, so maybe I'll just add a bit of water to this. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I just added a tablespoon of water. Yeah, much better. Again, we're going to have a low flame. Now they suggest using a non-stick pan, but I don't have any non-stick pans. All I have is stainless steel. So that's why there's butter. And they say take 1 tablespoon and you're supposed to spread it around. Maybe I'll add another little bit to this. And see, there's a learning curve on this, because it's not exactly circular, which it's supposed to be. I guess I have to be a little more gentle with my spreading. Well, this is the first one, so we'll see. There's more batter left. And you're supposed to let that sit until it starts to get brown around the edges. Okay, so it's browning up a little bit, and yeah, I can't flip it yet. It's smelling good though. You see how it's getting brown? I think I can try and flip it now. Okay. Kind of looks like it did in the video that I watched. take it and roll it. Oh. You can feel it getting hard as it cools off. That's why it's important to keep the shape. Let me see. You get a look at it. Let me see if I can set this in the refrigerator to cool it faster. Okay, let's try this again. Put a little more butter in the pan. And then I'll get to taste these little bits once this cools off. Here, let's do that. It's setting up already. This sets really quickly. I need to get one of those things that they make crepes with, and they spin it around, and you know, I need one of those things. I think this cone will be better. I'm going to taste these little bits right here. Oh, that's good. It's a bit buttery, and perhaps I could have added a little more sugar, but it's good. I like it. I see it's starting to get brown underneath. Okay. Oh, this one came out looking more like a pancake. That's okay. Still good. This is inspiring me to get one of those cone shapers that you wrap the homemade cones around so that it has the perfect cone shape, and one of those crepe makers. I'm gonna be an ice cream cone making fool. Oh. Get a little excessive compulsive about some things. That's the second one. If the ice cream hadn't been peach, like if it was chocolate or vanilla or, you know, another flavor that goes with chocolate, I would have dipped the tips in chocolate to make sure that the ice cream didn't come dripping through when it melted. But I'm not thinking that peach ice cream goes too well with chocolate, so we're gonna skip that part. So there you have it, guys. Homemade ice cream cones for my homemade ice cream. Okay, geez, so you've seen the making of the ice cream and the making of the ice cream cones, which came out pretty good if you ask me. And now we're gonna have the eating of the ice cream and the cones, ice cream cones. Ah, so it's a little hard. I took this, just got it out of the freezer. I'm so excited about this peach ice cream. Peach ice cream was my dad's favorite. And he would have loved this. I wish that he were still here so that I could make it for him, because he would have absolutely loved it. Now these are mini cones. They might look big on the screen to you, but they're mini cones, and just so you don't get alarmed. Here, get a look at that. Oh, look at that. Oops, and it's already starting to melt. Mmm. This is so good. Oh, I could have made white chocolate and put it on the tips and dipped it. I didn't think about that. When I was a kid, I used to bite the ends of the ice cream cone. Good peach. Right. Can you see it? This lighting is so bright. It's hard to see. But yeah, when I was a kid, I would bite the tip of the ice cream cone and then suck the ice cream out of the bottom and then eat the cone. Because when it came to sweets and junk, I wasn't missing any of it. It's crunchy. This is good. Good stuff. I'm so sorry that my kids aren't here, because they will be loving it and loving me. Especially my son. When he was little, I might have told you guys this before, and I made something that he particularly liked, he would always say, "Mommy, I love you." And I used to chuckle because he would be loving me up when that food was good. I don't even think that he put those thoughts together. Well, it's funny. This is good. Really good. I met a few people on YouTube. I met one person that has a gluten-free channel. Gigi's Gluten-Free Lab. And Adrian's Cooking and Food Reviews suggested that I connect with her. And she cooks a lot of good stuff on her channel. And then there's a couple of people that I met that are gluten-free, but they don't have a gluten-free cooking channel. I would just like to get together with everybody, and we all cook, and we all eat, and have a good time. Can you hear that crunch? Can you hear it? I gotta get one of those ASMR microphones so that the sounds are really magnified. I have a mic. Battery died. I never got new batteries. But I have to get one of those mics so that you can hear all the sounds. Because I don't know, there's something about a crunch. I just love a good crunch. These cones turned out better than I thought they would. But yeah, the next time, I'm so tempted to go in the kitchen and just whip up some white chocolate, and dip these ends. That's a bit much. I should have just made one cone, because I'm getting pretty full. But I heard that if you don't have an airtight container, then the cones go a little soft. And we can't have that. Oops. So I'm just going to have to eat the rest of them. Oh. Oh, my dad would have loved this. Whenever I think of something that he would really like, I really, really miss him. I left big chunks of peaches in that ice cream. Good. I'm sorry, I'm smacking. It was great. Yeah. I can't wait till I can get together with my kids again. So I'm going to make them some ice cream and some cones. I'm going to dip them in chocolate. It's just going to be a good time. Well, if you have kids at home, and you know, I use gluten-free flour, but the recipe that I got this from actually wasn't gluten-free. And see, that's the whole thing about being gluten-free and eating gluten-free and feeding a friend or a family member that's gluten-free. It's like you can eat the same things that you eat. You don't have to change. You just have to use different ingredients. And that's why I say eating gluten-free is the same thing, only different. Because you can adjust your ingredients to suit any kind of diet and still eat virtually the same things that you were eating before. I remember when I first found out that I had celiac. I mean, when I tell you I was depressed, even thinking about it now, I get a little choked up because I was depressed. I love food. If you couldn't tell. And just to think that I would never have pasta. I lived right down the street from this great Italian restaurant. And just to think that I would never be able to eat pasta or gnocchi or, you know, any of that stuff, cannolis, any of that stuff, it was depressing. To think that I could never have bread. I used to go to this German bakery just about every day. Cakes and all that. You know, and it wasn't that I could never have them again. I just had to figure out how I could have them again. And that was a beautiful thing for me, just making all these discoveries. Pizza, it's like I thought I would never be able to eat pizza again. And then when I tasted the crappy gluten-free crust that people were making, and it was like this generic crust that tasted like cardboard, and every pizza shop that offered gluten-free pizza, first of all, they didn't have gluten-free dedicated ovens, let alone a gluten-free dedicated kitchen. So that was dangerous in itself, and I was still getting sick eating that crap. But to know that I could have good pizza crust that tastes like normal pizza crust, it's like you just have to adjust the way you do things. And sometimes I feel silly about, that big funk that I was in, because it really was unnecessary. But it's like people didn't really know too much about being gluten-free and a gluten-free diet. It's like nutritionists would say, oh, well, you can't have gluten anymore. And it's like, well, duh, I don't want to have gluten anymore, but I do want to eat, and I want to enjoy what I'm eating. I don't want to eat cardboard crust pizza, and I didn't have to. And in other cultures, now you think Italy, with all the pasta and the pizza and the bread, they have been gluten-free or have had gluten-free options for decades. And when I tell you decades, it's like forever, almost like forever. I would have had a lovely time. And why it took us so long to realize. And the thing is, it's still a problem because gluten-free restaurants, and I know one bakery that has moderate prices. I took you guys there before, By the Way Bakery. But most of these places are super expensive. And the ingredients don't have to be super expensive. This corn flour, which I believe it comes from Mexico. It's gluten-free, and it's not expensive. And when I don't feel like spending like a lot of money on flour, I just get this. And I can adjust it so that it works with whatever it is that I want to make. I can make waffles out of it. I made these ice cream cones out of it, and I didn't think that it was going to come out that good. But it did. So you just have to get used to doing things a little different, and it'll be fine. And don't avoid inviting your gluten-free friends over to dinner. And don't avoid eating at their house. This one little girl came to my house, and she didn't want to eat the pasta because it was gluten-free. She's like, oh, no, thank you. She went down a couple blocks to Arthur Avenue. She bought herself a sandwich, which was fine. And then everybody else was eating the pasta, and she tasted it, and she's like, oh, this is good. I didn't think it would taste good. First of all, I cooked it. Of course it's going to taste good. But I I got so upset. I was like, this little twit, you know, oh no, I don't want pasta. I feel like a sandwich. I knew why she didn't want to eat the pasta. Whatever. Hmm. But yeah. Don't avoid going to their house when they invite you to dinner. Go and eat the food. It's gonna be good if they know how to cook. Now, if they never knew how to cook and they became gluten free, they're still not gonna know how to cook. But yeah, try it. You'll like it. mm. Can you believe I ate 3 ice cream cones? They were minis though, and I still have plenty of ice cream left. So, my dad would have liked this. Hmm. Mm. Still crunchy. Now I'm gonna go drink a gallon of water in one sitting. I'm thirsty now. Well, that was my gluten-free ice cream, gluten-free ice cream cone. And I'm looking forward to making some more stuff and trying it out with you. But in the meantime, don't forget to count your blessings, be a blessing to somebody else, and be kind to yourself. Till next time.